Parshat Naso is certainly one of the parshios that is known for its length. But when the Baal Koreh looks at Parshat Naso, we recognize that even though it's one of the longest parshios in the Torah, there's a tremendous amount of repetition. And where is this redundancy found in the context of Parshat Naso? It is in the Korbanos that were brought by every single Nasi, the leader of each and every Shevet in the inauguration of the Mishkan. The Torah describes the precise configuration of Korbanos and identifies the leader of each and every Shevet who is responsible for bringing those Korbanos in order to establish the framework that would become the Mishkan Hashem. And the question that is posed by so many commentaries is, why does the Torah describe the configuration of Korbanos each and every time it introduces an additional Nasi? Why can't the Torah simply list, here are the Nasiim, and these were the Korbanos that they brought? The Torah, which is known to be very parse with its words, where each and every extra letter and extra nuance and extra phraseology is an opportunity to derive all sorts of halachos and traditions from that text, seems to be extremely generous in providing ample text for this particular value, and the question is why. So if we take a step back and we look at the general Sefer Bamidbar, as it's framed at the outset of last week's Parsha, of Parshas Bamidbar, we recognize that the Jewish people are sitting in the midst of the Midbar, in the midst of the desert, and they're camped around the Mishkan. And the Torah tells us that each and every Shevet, each and every tribe had a leader, and each and every tribe had a degel, each and every tribe had a flag. Even though Judaism essentially involves us all centered around one common set of expectations, even though the Torah provides a certain consistency to the framework within which we live our lives, we know that there were multiple tribes, and each tribe captured a different personality, a different approach, a different derech Hashem. Some tribes were perhaps more intellectual, some were more emotional, some were more philosophical. The notion that we are divided into different shvatim speaks to the diversity and individuality of the Jewish people. And the question is, how do we reconcile that value of individuality with this notion that each and every person is simply bringing the same thing? And I believe that within the answer to this question lies our greatest challenge. And that is that Judaism provides for us a way of life. It provides a ritual structure, it provides a halachic framework, it provides a program for how it is that we find meaning and purpose in everything we do. And sometimes it feels like there's so much consistency and commonality that there's really no space for us to be ourselves, for us to assert that sense of individuality that frames who we are. Parshat Naso is about recognizing that even though every single Nasi brought the same Korbanos, they all brought it in their own way. This Korban came from this leader, and this leader's set of life circumstances, this leader's set of challenges and failures and successes created their own sense of approach of what it meant to draw close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Even though the Mishkan is a common structure to all of us, everyone approaches it in their own way. The diversity is not necessarily in what we do, but the diversity is in how we do it. It's in how we approach it. And there's so much space and so much latitude in Jewish life for everyone to approach the Ribbono Shel Olam in their own way. In Rabbi Willig's introduction to his Sefer Hilchos Shabbos, he writes of the famous Zemer, this famous song that we sing, Ish al machanehu, Ish al diglo, referring to Shabbos. And it essentially sends us back to the beginning of Sefer Bamidbar, where we recognize the identity of the individual shvatim. And Rabbi Willig writes that just like every single shevet had its own flag, had its own pride that it projected through its banner of what was essentially its identity, each and every individual home can approach Shabbos in their own unique way. Each al machanehu ve'ich al diglo. That how we approach Shabbos in my home is not how you approach Shabbos in your home. Even though we all have the same set of 39 malachos, the same text of Kiddush, the same Birkas Hamazon, the same set of Zmiros, nevertheless the texture, the nuance, the experience, the emotions, all of that is unique to each and every individual family. The Jewish people, when we received the Torah, stood in a circle around Har Sinai. And the nature of a circle is such that every point on the perimeter of the circle is distinct and unique. But every radius from that perimeter of the circle points to a common center. That common center is the avoda of our Nasiim. That common center is our Mishkan. That common center is the halachic expectations that characterize our life. but our path, our journey from our perimeter of that circle to how we reach that common center is individual and distinct. No two radii on a circle overlap each other. And I think that as alumni of NCSY, this is something that at least I know I look back and recognize as a real magical focal point of my own NCSY experience as a kid, as a leader, and in high school, and as someone who was definitely connected to the organization and worked there for many years. NCSY was always a place, and this is true about all of the OU alumni programs, where you can connect to the fundamentals of what it means to be a Jew, to the halacha, to the ideology, to the theology, to all of the foundations of what it means to be a Jew, that there's such an emphasis on finding your own way, that everybody has their own journey and everybody has their own opportunity to reach that place. And now, having the opportunity to serve the Jewish people here at Yeshiva University at the Center for the Jewish Future, so much of what we do here is an extension of that value system that I was raised with, really, in NCSY, of trying to create opportunities in communities throughout North America for every community, for every shevet, for every family, to find their flag, to find their degel, to find their approach to that common set of inaugurating the Mishkan of the Jewish people. Have a wonderful day.